Okay, remember that they are changing my voice because the Divine Order is a Royal African Falcon, heterosexual top martial arts order, and there's a bunch of fanatic, racist whites, Jews, and LGBT people in the governing class with a massive network that is worse than the Klan, that is harassing people in a way that's more fanatic than Nazis and trying to make it so the governing class feels like their genes are superior. So now let's go to Job. We're going to go over some parts in Job that talk about clouds, and we're going to see definitively that the cloud is figurative and the idea could only refer to the Royal African Falcon, top martial artist order. Spirit on the top side, right, the sun and in Christ, and under the feet, we'll see that again in Psalm 18, under the feet of Christ, figuratively, is Gog and Magog, Babylon, what have you, that is eating each other, right? We see that in, I believe it's Isaiah, where it says, you will eat the flesh of your offspring. Again, it's figurative. They're harming each other, their neighbors, their families, their friends, and their offspring, and the righteous are taken away, like it says in Isaiah 57. So let's get to this. Job 3. After this, Job opened his mouth and cursed the day of his birth. He said, may the day of my birth perish, and the night that said a boy is conceived. That day may it turn to darkness. May God above not care about it. May no light shine on it. May gloom and utter darkness claim it once more. May a cloud settle over it. May blackness overwhelm it. So again, it says, may gloom and utter darkness claim it once more. May a cloud settle over it. May blackness overwhelm it. So the cloud brings in the darkness. Okay, we see that in nature, right? And the things beneath the cloud are being put in the pit. So part of the cloud is that dark part of the cloud that's not being touched directly by the sun. Okay, it's a dark storm cloud that is bringing darkness. That is key here. Because some of you, on TikTok, you might say, hey, you said the cloud was Gog and Magog and Babylon and so on and so forth. Okay, I was fumed and poisoned when I put that little thing in the title, and I forgot to put the rest of the part, and I put it in part 2, I believe in part 3, okay, where that's the bottom part of the cloud, and that part is being referred to, right? We went over that in Ezekiel 38, where it says that you will advance against my people Israel like a cloud that covers the land. That's part of it, but there's more to it than that, okay? And the essence of it, right, is it's God's judgment, God's punishment. We'll get to that in the later clips in Job, the later parts of Job that we're going to go over. It's God's punishment, right? The righteous are punishing them, and the wicked are punishing them. Now it's who, what, when, where, how, why. Okay. So again, may gloom and utter darkness claim it once more. May a cloud settle over it. May blackness overwhelm it. That night may thick darkness seize it. May it not be included among the days of the year, nor be entered in any of the months. May that night be barren. May no shout of joy be heard in it. May those who curse days curse that day. Those who are ready to rouse Leviathan, may its morning stars become dark. May it wait for daylight in vain and not see the first rays of dawn. So again, Christ in Revelation said, as a character in the story, that he's the root and offspring of David and the bright morning star, and that anyone who conquers is given a morning star. Okay, people aren't able to conquer the world after my flesh dies, so it's just darkness. And after the cloud vanishes, we'll say, their hopes for being gathered in the clouds vanish, and they're just in a Luciferian hell where they're confused about what is good and evil to some degree as a result of good not being around anymore. Again, if you have any questions, put in the comments. Job 7. Verse 7, remember, O God, that my life is but a breath. My eyes will never see happiness again. The eye that now sees me will see me no longer. You will look for me, but I will be no more. As a cloud vanishes and is gone, so one who goes down to the grave does not return. It's not a coincidence that says the cloud is going to vanish, and it says that those who go down to the grave won't return. So if you're not gathered into the clouds and then moving through the gate, which is the sun behind the clouds, okay, I am the gate, the sun, the symbol of the bridegroom. Psalm 19, symbol of the bridegroom and the champion. Then You are in the pit with your offspring. The cloud vanishes, hope vanishes, they're sealed in. He will never come to his house again, his place will know him no more again. As a cloud vanishes and is gone, so one who goes down to the grave does not return. He will never come to his house again, his place will know him no more. Now, for those of you who need some background into Job, Job is about Job being tested by God after Satan convinces God to test Job. And his family dies and so on and so forth. So his friends come, they rip their robes, and they're trying to explain to Job why he shouldn't be so miserable, why he shouldn't ask why this is happening. And at the end of Job, God rebukes everybody and says that basically none of them know what they're talking about when it comes to what is going on, because what was going on was obscured, and they weren't in the divine order in a way that allowed them to understand it. And Job knew something was wrong, okay, and he didn't know what, so he started questioning God. So in a sense, Job was right to question God, but he was wrong to question God, and that's what God rebukes him for. Not for being upset and not knowing what's going on. Okay, so it gets a bit confusing. Okay, now, Job 8. If you have any questions, again, put in the comments. Job 8. Job 8:1. Then Bildad the Shuhite replied, "How long will you say such things? Your words are a blustering wind. Does God pervert justice? Does the Almighty pervert what is right? He would crush," and it goes down to verse 17, "He would crush me with a storm and multiply my wounds for no reason." So again, there's winds that are marshaling the force of God. There's nonsense winds, nonsense spirits, and he says that God would crush him with a storm. So again, we see the cloud, the storm, what have you, being used in the context of a martial force, right? God's crushing him with his martial power. Job 10. Also keep in mind, they're trying to make it so I struggle to explain it to you why they're changing my voice. And when we're talking immature people here, and everyone who's alive right now knows that there's the masses of rich, immature people, spoiled brats on TikTok, dressing like witches, so on and so forth. No offense to anybody, but that's part of what's going on here. There's no way to explain effectively why I'm being persecuted without pointing out that there's the masses of rich people and their children who are acting like brats. Why this is happening, which indicates that part of the reason it's happening is that they're immature and spoiled and racist and selfish and not deep, etc. Again, no offense anyway. Job 10, verse 16. If I hold my head high, you stalk me like a lion, and again display your awesome power against me. You bring new witnesses against me and increase your anger toward me. Your forces come against me wave upon wave. Again, he says your forces come against me wave upon wave, right? So there's the floods and there's waves that are created. The forces are wave upon wave. The cloud, the storm, the flood, the waves, and the soldiers are wave upon wave. Just like again in Ezekiel 38:16, it says, you will advance against my people Israel like a cloud that covers the land, right? The armies of Gog and Magog and the nations of the world that are with them. And again, Job 10, verse 17, the last part of the verse, your voices come against me wave upon wave. So you bring new witnesses against me and increase your anger toward me. Your forces come against me wave upon wave. Why then did you bring me out of the womb? I wish I had died before any eye saw me. If only I had never come into being, or had been carried straight from the womb to the grave. Are not my few days almost over? Turn away from me so I can have a moment's joy before I go to the place of no return, to the land of gloom and utter darkness, to the land of deepest night, of utter darkness and disorder, where even the light is like darkness. So again, they brought up order, right? He says he thinks God is against him unfairly or something, and that he's going to the utter darkness and disorder when he's just being tested and he's passing the test masterfully. Okay, because what can you expect of him? God says, okay, you basically did everything right except for the exact way you're questioning God, which means that you have to do some things to atone for the sin, and he ends up going into heaven at the end.